Today's episode of Explainiac is presented by Assassin's Creed Shadows. Here's everything you need to know about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Welcome back to Explainiac. I'm Dan Casey, and today we're going to be talking about one of the most anticipated games of the year, Assassin's Creed Shadows. This brand new installment takes the series deep into the shadows of Japan's Sengoku era. One of the most tumultuous and dramatic periods in Japanese history, it was marked by civil wars and social upheaval. Now, this is particularly exciting for someone like me, who's played basically every Assassin's Creed game since the series launched in 2007, and doubly so as someone who studied Japanese history in college. To paraphrase a popular Junji Ito comic, it was made for me! That's my whole Venn diagram of interests! Assassin's Creed Shadows comes to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC including Steam on day one, Mac, and Amazon Luna on March 20th, and that is right around the corner. And whether you've been studying Bushido in anticipation of samurai action, or Shadows snuck up on you like a shinobi practicing ninjutsu, we've got you covered. From the real-world history that inspired Shadows, to where you might have heard of its protagonists before, to thrilling new mechanics and beyond, we're going to break down everything you need to know before you play. While Assassin's Creed Mirage acted as a direct prequel of sorts for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Shadows stands apart both in time period and setting. With that said, if you're anything like us, you have a burning desire to understand exactly where things sit on a fictional timeline. Assassin's Creed Shadows takes place in 16th century feudal Japan, specifically beginning in the year 1579. That means in terms of the larger franchise timeline, it's between the events of Assassin's Creed Revelations, which ends around 1512 in the Ottoman Empire, and Assassin's Creed IV Black Flag, which commences in 1715 in the West Indies during the Golden Age of piracy. So it seems like Assassin's Creed Shadows is separated from previous games by anywhere from 70 to 125 years. It also marks the first time the franchise will explore feudal Japan in all of its three-dimensional glory. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, players step into the tabi of the legendary samurai Yasuke and the shinobi assassin Naoe, as they unravel vast conspiracies against the backdrop of wars of unification in Japan's Kansai region. The game's map spans 9 different provinces: Harima, Iga, Ki, Omi, Setsu, Tamba, Yamashiro, Yamato, and Wakasa. You'll explore bustling ports where culture and commerce collide thanks to the arrival of Portuguese merchants and missionaries. You'll infiltrate towering castles to take down your opponents. And you'll brave the elements as you traverse across Japan's pastoral countryside way back in the 16th century. As I mentioned, Shadows unfolds against the backdrop of the Sengoku Jidai, aka the Warring States period. It spanned the mid-1400s through the early 1600s, and this was a time of immense change across Japan, nearly a century of civil wars. While much of the official history is recorded, there are plenty of ellipses and question marks and opportunities for Shadows to fill in the blanks, with Ubisoft's signature Assassin vs. Templar storytelling. But let's start with what we actually know, because that informs everything else. In the wake of a succession crisis, the reigning power in Japan, the Ashikaga shogunate, fell apart. It lost its grip on both the country and the daimyo, these feudal lords who had considerable wealth, land, and military might of their own, usually in the form of samurai and other enlisted men. And what followed was a period of violent civil wars and uprisings as these daimyo bitterly battled each other to seize power. Now, eventually, one of these daimyo, Oda Nobunaga, alongside his trusted retainers and successors Hideyoshi Toyotomi and Tokugawa Ieyasu, amassed enough power to put Japan on the path to unification. But as we've seen from the trailers for Shadows, unification comes with a high price, one paid in human lives. But that's how this period of brutal battles began. The game itself starts in 1579, towards the final phase of the Sengoku era, in what's known as the Azuchi Momoyama period. 5 years earlier, the great warlord Oda Nobunaga marched upon Kyoto and overthrew the last of the Ashikaga shoguns. And that wasn't the only massive change occurring during this period. In 1543, a Portuguese merchant ship ran aground in Tanegashima. This marked the arrival of Europeans on Japanese soil. What followed was a non-stop torrent of missionaries and merchants seeking to bring God and guns to an unsuspecting Japanese people. In the Teppoki, a historical chronicle of the arrival of firearms in Japan, Dairyuji Temple Abbot Nampo Bunchi detailed astonished reactions to these new weapons. This thing with one blow can smash a mountain of silver and a wall of iron. The Portuguese firearms, also known as an arquebus, revolutionized warfare in Japan. Lord Tanegashima Tokitaka initially purchased firearms from the Portuguese, but by the time of the events of Shadows, the Japanese were actually manufacturing arquebus of their very own, marking a major paradigm shift in the way wars were fought. Daimyo, like Nobunaga, used these firearms to tremendous effect to bring their enemies to heel and crush the competition. Oda Nobunaga's ruthless tactics and adoption of emergent technology were two factors that enabled his meteoric rise to power. But could this simply be a great man exerting his influence to alter the course of history? Or could Nobunaga be manipulated by forces with ulterior motives, maybe like the Templars? And what kind of shadows does Nobunaga cast on our two heroes? That's right, Shadows lets you play as two different protagonists, Yasuke and Naoe, who both have unique playstyles. One of our heroes is the samurai Yasuke, a fascinating figure plucked directly from historical record. While much of Yasuke's past remains uncertain, he was said to be a man of African descent, believed to be from what is now South Sudan or perhaps Mozambique. Yasuke is said to have traveled to Japan circa 1579 alongside the Italian Jesuit missionary Alessandro Valignano, whom he served as a bodyguard. Yasuke was described as physically imposing, tall, and incredibly strong. This attracted the attention of Oda Nobunaga, who wanted to know what the commotion was about, so he reportedly summoned Yasuke to appear before him. And Yasuke apparently made such a strong impression on Nobunaga that he gave him a sword, which some believe eventually led to Yasuke becoming a samurai. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, we follow that version of Yasuke's story, where Nobunaga winds up taking Yasuke into his service as a samurai. On the other side of the coin, players will also step into the stealthy shoes of Fujibayashi Naoe, a shinobi warrior from the isolated mountain province of Iga. For those who don't know, shinobi, also known as ninja, were spies who specialized in infiltration and intelligence gathering. And in the world of Shadows, most likely they're going to have some kind of connection or inroads with the Assassin Brotherhood as well. Although Naoe was created by the developers for this game, some believe that her father may have actually existed in real life. Fujibayashi Nagato was believed to have been an important figure among the ninja dwelling in the mountainous Iga province. Unfortunately, Nagato and the ninja of Iga could not stand against Nobunaga's might. During the Tensho Iga Wars between 1579 and 1581, the people of Iga, Naoe's people, found themselves unexpected casualties in the name of unification. So basically, you have Naoe, a shinobi warrior whose people were killed at the hands of Japan's most ambitious and innovative warlord, and Yasuke, a stranger in a strange land who's pledged his life, his sword, and his honor to Oda Nobunaga as a samurai. By all accounts, it sounds like these two should be enemies rather than uneasy allies. So what could motivate them to put aside their differences? Well, it certainly seems like Yasuke's loyalty to Oda Nobunaga will be put to the test as a result of his alliance with Naoe. Could this be the result of maybe some sort of darker forces influencing Nobunaga's plans from the shadows? Only time will tell. Nobunaga was regarded as a brilliant tactician. He was on the verge of successfully unifying a nation engulfed in nearly a century of conflict when suddenly everything changed. In 1582, Nobunaga found himself embroiled in a shocking showdown that came to be known as the Honnoji Incident. Now, considering that this event seems like it could well appear in the game, I don't want to spoil everything that happens here for you. I know, Dan, it's history, but just trust me, it is very important. We'll just have to wait and see what this tale of honor, betrayal, and murders most foul with an arsenal of deadly weapons actually has in store for us. And speaking of those deadly weapons, while guns like the arquebus are part of the arsenal you can tap into as Yasuke and Naoe, you'll also draw from a variety of period-accurate weapons to help you take on all manner of foes or obstacles. Now, Yasuke's strength is effectively a matter of historical fact. There's a 1605 illustration of a man that some purport to be Yasuke sumo wrestling and holding his own, with a large group of others waiting to take him on and test their mettle. If that is actually Yasuke, it's pretty fitting, because in Shadows, he's also capable of taking on a multitude of enemies. Yasuke can use heavier weapons than Naoe can, like the kanabo, a two-handed war club that is perfect for taking down anyone who stands in your way. Naoe, on the other hand, is all about fast-paced attacks and using her superior agility and shinobi tools to get in and out unseen. From surgical strikes with your hidden blade to using it as a tanto knife to dual wield, Naoe's versatility lets you get creative. Plus, she can access areas that Yasuke can't thanks to her handy-dandy grappling hook. And thanks to the game's dynamic lighting system, shadows play a fitting role, a major one, in the world of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Worried about getting spotted by a nearby enemy guard? It's simple. Kill the one carrying a torch or destroy a nearby lantern to plunge the environment into darkness so you can assassinate with impunity and get away unseen. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. Thanks to Yasuke and Naoe's complementary playstyles and the ability to play through each mission as either of them, you can relive and remix the historical record as you see fit and tell a story that's all your own. Anyway, folks, there you have it. That's both everything you need to know about Assassin's Creed Shadows before you play, and how it approaches bringing Japan's iconic Sengoku period to life. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again to Assassin's Creed Shadows for sponsoring today's episode. At long last, Assassin's Creed Shadows takes you back in time to 16th century Japan, where you'll battle everything from deadly enemies to the unforgiving and unpredictable elements in your quest to free the people of Japan from their oppressors. You'll scale castle walls undetected as the shinobi assassin Naoe, and take down your foes with brutal precision and power as the legendary samurai Yasuke. However you want to play, the choice is yours when Assassin's Creed Shadows comes to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC including Steam on day 1, Mac and Amazon Luna on March 20th. For now though, folks, tell us, what do you think? Are you excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows? What aspect of Japanese history are you most excited to experience? And what other time period do you most want to see the franchise explore next? Let us know in the comments below. Now, if you want even more deep dives into all things nerdy and pop culture, make sure to check out past episodes of Explainiac right now, wherever fine Nerdist content is streamed. And remember, not everything in life can be explained, but for everything else, there's this show.